It is time for Answers Party Line today for your Thursday, May the 30th, 2019. Answers Party Line is brought to you by Wimmer Opticians of St. Cloud, Atlas Family Chiropractic of Wade Park, CHI Health at Home. We have a temp of, let me double check my screen here. It feels warmer than it is. 63 is our temp right now. Winds are calm. It felt warm outside this morning, but 63 up to 82 today. Partly sunny to partly cloudy skies, down to 57 tonight, clear skies. 84, maybe some scattered thunderstorms late in the day tomorrow, and then tomorrow night more showers, thunderstorms. About 52 for Friday night's low. Saturday and Sunday, temps right around the lower 70s. Right now on Answers Party Line, we have joining us from the Soil and Water Conservation District. We have in studio, we have Brad Wenz, Soil Conservationist, and also Chris Hogge, District Conservationist, and Dennis Fuchs, Administrator with the Stearns County Soil and Water Conservation District. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you feeling, Dennis?
I am feeling pretty good. I'm getting over a cold, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to be doing quite as much talking on the radio show today. We'll let Chris, our new NRCS team lead in Wade Park, talk a little bit about where he's from and what he's planning on doing in Wade Park. And then also, we wanted to give Brad Wenz a chance to talk a little bit about his career at the Stearns County Soil and Water Conservation District. And the guy's going to be retiring soon. So we want to make sure that he has an opportunity to share some of his observations that he's witnessed with his long industrialist, what is the word I'm trying to say there?
Great.
Yeah, great career at the Stearns County Soil Water Conservation District. So, but I'd like to lead off and have Chris just tell us a little bit of where you're from, Chris, and when you started here at Wade Park, and what your family is, and where they are, and when they're coming, and all that good stuff.
All right. We welcome Chris Hogge to the mic here. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good today.
Did he pronounce that name right?
Yes.
Yeah, he told me he specifically instructed me how to pronounce his name correctly. Not Hogge, not Hogge.
It's
Hogge.
Yep.
Hogge.
I'm originally from Southeast Iowa. I spent about 14 years of my career in Iowa, and for about 4 years ago, I ended up moving to Wade Park with my family. We made a decision to kind of move out of Iowa and try something different. So I wanted to get out of the corn bean world, and I ended up moving to Wade Park right into the corn bean world.
What in Iowa in the corn bean world did you do?
I started in 2000 as a soil conservationist technician, so I did a lot of the engineering side of the NRCS, and I moved to a soil con and worked in northwest Iowa for a while. And we just did conservation planning. I did a lot of wetland restoration, HEL planning, worked with some pasture, did a lot of CRP, and then I was a district conservationist in central Iowa. So I managed an office of about 7 people, give or take a few, and we worked on kind of like RCPP projects, which are regional conservation projects where we worked jointly with other counties and partners on water quality issues and soil health issues, mostly focused on cover crops and no-till, strip-till type projects. We did some pastures and some CRP pollinator seedings.
So how many years did you do that down there?
I did it for 14 years
14.
in Iowa, and then we moved here to Minnesota about 4 years ago to Wheaton, and I was the district conservationist in Traverse County, and it's a busy county with CSP, which is the Conservation Stewardship Program, but we didn't have any HEL grounds, so a lot of what we worked with was CRP and the Conservation Stewardship Program and a little bit of EQIP, but basically that's really our basic stuff that we worked with. We had a really awesome soil and water conservation district over there that worked very closely with NRCS in establishing CRP, buffer strips, and just CRP in general. So that was a big part of our workload.
What are HEL grounds?
HEL is highly erodible land,
Okay.
and over there in the river or in the lake bottom, we really didn't have much HEL ground. I think I had one field I did an HEL plan for, so it was quite a change. It's flat country out there. So then my wife looked at me and said we should probably move again.
Where are there more hills, in other words? Or?
Well, more hills, maybe some trees, maybe a grocery store close or something like that.
Sure.
So she said that we should probably move a little closer to civilization. So I said, well, okay, we'll get that done. So I'm in the process of moving my wife and 3 children from Wheaton to basically somewhere around Waite Park to the office here. I started in Waite Park on May 13th, so I'm really new. I'm still trying to get my feet on the ground, which is really hard to do because there is so much going on in this county, and it is just, wow.
You're not feeling overwhelmed, are you, already?
Slightly overwhelmed, yes.
Well, that's
because,
natural.
Yeah, and I've got great staff in the office that are trying to help me get my feet on the ground. The Soil and Water Conservation District here has been extremely helpful to helping me get my feet on the ground. So I think given time, I think we'll be able to get things rolling and headed in the right direction.
What made you want to do this as a career in the first place?
My parents were both teachers, and I went to school for basically naturalist, and I thought, wow, that'd be great to teach kids, because my parents were taught kids, and it just didn't work out. And one day I walked into an NRCS office, and they said, hey, we got a position. Would you like to apply? And I'm like, okay. And yeah, I applied for it, and it's really no different than it's just teaching. And you just meet with producers and educate them on soils or wildlife habitat or, what we can do to make things a little bit better.
Coming into this job, Chris, are you having a kind of a direction in mind that you want to specifically tackle as far as your specialty of any kind?
I don't really have any specialty that I'm looking specifically to really focus on. Just trying to look and see where we're at and where we need to go. I think soil health is vitally important for sustainability in crop production and cattle. I think soil health plays a role in a lot of different environmental issues that we have. When it comes to erosion, it comes to plant health, it comes to even animal health. There's been studies that kind of tie it all together, and it all kind of comes back to how healthy is the soil, are they getting the proper nutrients, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm looking at some soil health stuff, see if we can get a little bit better knowledge out there to producers.
Well, Chris, did Dennis or anybody else? Dennis, did you do any interviewing with Chris, or were you in the interviewing process or the hiring process?
I was not. The NRCS handles all of the interview processes for NRCS staff.
Well, I was trying to get some insider information as maybe you can tell me rather than Chris, bragging about himself,
Oh yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. What made him stand apart or be the one to pick to hire for this position?
I really don't know for sure, but
we don't know.
Yeah, because I wasn't part of the process,
Sure.
but we're very happy so far with the selection, and looking forward to Chris hanging around in Waite Park for a long time.
Good.
And this isn't when Steve Salnow and Rick Burscheid and Dave Rose, those former district conservationists, they pretty much managed Stearns County. Now, they've moved into a different model with NRCS where they have a team lead, and that's Chris's job as team lead, where he not only watches Stearns County, he's also watching several other counties. And Chris, you probably could share with the listeners a little bit of the new structure.
I got to stop you in a minute 15, so go.
Okay, the team lead position is basically I supervise staff in other counties, so I supervise staff in Wright, Benton, Sherburne, Antioch, and I'm missing one. But I manage the staff in that office, and basically I have awesome staff that are really doing really good things in the counties, and so I don't think that part of the job is going to be all that difficult.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
And then once you get the family here, you can finally relax and not have to worry about that side of your life, too.
No. When the family gets here, that's when the excitement starts.
See?
Yeah. Everybody's got to go everywhere. So, yeah, it'll be great.
All right, we'll visit more with Chris Hogge, also Brad Wenz and Dennis Fuchs after we get back from our news break. We got news at 9:30. We have weather. We have markets. We'll visit more with our guests from the Soil and Water Conservation District after we get back from our news break. Our temp currently here in Albany with some partly sunny skies is at 63 today. High today of about 82. Time for news, 9:30, Minnesota News Network, KASM Radio. It is Answers Party Line here on KASM Radio. Your dependable neighbor. Our time is at 9:39, 21 minutes away from 10 o'clock. Our temp of 66 degrees. My name is Brad Melke. Good morning. In studio with us, we have Dennis Fuchs, administrator with the SWCD. We also have, we have Chris Hogge with us. He is the brand new district conservationist from the NRCS side of things.
Correct.
Yes. You got to remind me, Dennis, how does the NRCS and how do you guys mesh in one kind of office area?
Yeah, so the NRCS is part of the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture. NRCS stands for Natural Resources Conservation Service, and they're co-located with us at the USDA Service Center. And the other partner there is the Farm Service Agency. And the Soil Water Conservation District started back in the Dust Bowl era of the 30s and 40s. And we're actually going to be celebrating our 70th anniversary. We were established in October of 1949. And the federal government encouraged states to create soil water conservation districts. So you had local people elected to protect their natural resources because natural resources, soils, climate changes dramatically across the United States. And but NRCS was created to provide the technical expertise, and we invite NRCS into the county to help provide that leadership with the technical expertise. And then we also participate in learning and getting that assistance out to our producers. And we've had a track record at the Stearns County SWCD USDA Wade Park Service Center of working together like no other service center in the United States, in my mind. And we have a tremendous team of working together. Producers come in our office. They don't know if you're NRCS or SWCD. We can show up at CASM, and they don't know if we're NRCS or SWCD because of the team.
That's good.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of a good thing.
Yeah.
Because you work together so well.
Yes. And Brad has been there the whole time. Not since 1949. But for how many years, Brad?
Well, as of last October, it was 38 years. So I'm actually going to be coming on 39 years this October. But I'm not going to be here for the 39th year, unfortunately. But, we were just talking off the air a little bit about Chris's work in Traverse County and how he was just starting to get the district involved in some of the NRCS programs, especially CRP, and that's good news because Stearns County, like Dennis was saying, we have a history of working together as a team with NRCS. I wouldn't know any other way. That's the way it was when I started, and it's the way it is today, and that's how we get work done.
How did things, when you first started compared to now, how did things kind of evolve, transition to this point?
Well, I've seen a lot of changes in things, not only in the farming practices, but the way we do conservation planning, and over 38 years. Actually, I started on a soil survey, and that was in 1977. And so walking the land and classifying soils, you get to determine, you gather a real intimate knowledge of the land, the soils, and the farming operations. And there's been a lot of changes in that time. We're seeing less dairy operations, more cash grain, more rented land, So we're dealing with renters now and absentee landowners quite a bit. So we got to change the way we do things a little bit. Some of the conservation practices that worked 38 years ago are not so effective today. They're still effective, but they're just not popular. We used to do a lot of contour strip cropping. I don't know if listeners know what they are. I think if you're in the dairy industry and the rolling ground, you see a lot of contour strips out there where you have alternating strips of corn and alfalfa on the landscape. They're pretty, and that's what you see on the conservation brochures and everything, and they're effective. But nowadays, with the big equipment and less need for alfalfa in a rotation, we just don't see them anymore. So those kinds of changes, we're seeing more row crops in the landscape. We hope to see more people using minimum tillage and strip till and no till with their row crops, but it's a tough sell here in Stearns County. We're still seeing a lot of conventional tillage out there, and some of the associated problems, with soil erosion and water quality. Farmers are working hard trying to find the answers, and that's what we're here for with the district, to try to help them do that.
Is that a science thing or a trial and error thing?
Well, it's a commitment thing. It's a head thing. You have to make that commitment and be ready to be in it for at least 3 years. I had one farmer last year on a tour tell everybody, you gotta be in no-till or strip-till for 3 years. Give it at least that much time, because you see changes in the soil, and some of the benefits you see might not happen right away. Of course, some things happen immediately, like erosion control and those types of things. Mm-hmm. But changes in the soil, and then you learn, how your equipment operates, and you adjust things, and pretty soon you start seeing those benefits. Less labor and fuel cost. Machinery can be less with those systems. It just works better.
How has, again, talking about the science thing, the whole analyzing the soil and different whatever, how has that progressed over the years?
Well, we don't really get involved in, cell testing, that sort of thing, but we have seen changes in the way they test soils when in regards to soil health. They're looking at different things. You're looking at the biology in some of the testing procedures. They're looking at different ways to determine available nitrogen, from organic sources in the soil. There's a huge pool of organic nitrogen in there that mineralizes and feeds the crop, and if we can figure out ways to measure that, maybe we can save some cost in nitrogen application. Mm-hmm. Infiltration, those types of things. We're involved in a grant right now with the University of Minnesota, a conservation innovation grant. I think I got the acronym right, where they're actually developing a standardized test for soil health that we can use statewide under different management systems. And so in Stearns County, we've got several farmers that are going to be involved in that over the next 3 years. So, but as far as, I started out on soil survey, which is classifying and mapping the soils based on standards soil taxonomy. And that type of classification is geared toward the use of the soil. How suitable is it for various uses, and how's the soil going to react to, road construction or residential development or agriculture or things like that. And that really hasn't changed much. That soil survey is a tremendous tool, and but now we've gotten more leaning towards ways to improve soil health. We can use soil survey information for that, but a lot of that really kind of evolves to management and different changes in the soil with the types of management you do.
I was going to say, is poor soil health mainly because of mismanagement?
Well, the soil started out in pretty good shape 150 years ago or so.
Sure.
I mean, we had 18, 20 inches of black topsoil and wonderful soil structure, infiltration. You put a seed in the ground and it grew without a lot of inputs. So, over time, in the type of management that the Europeans brought over with the moldboard plow, cause some problems, and soil erosion and heavy equipment and all that. We see changes, but we can reverse some of that. We can bring back some of the things that we learned in the natural soil system. Diversify the crop rotation, keep residue on the surface, keep living plant root in the ground. That improves soil structure and helps cycle nutrients better to the plants. It's just a system that farmers are interested in it. A lot of interest in it. We had a field day a couple years ago, and they just rolled in, and we maybe had 60 people there, and on a rainy, wet, cold day, but they were interested in soil health, and they wanted to learn more about it. So that we're like Chris is saying, that's one thing we want to try to be able to provide our farmers information and resources to improve soil health.
Has it come to the point where soil health, it's coming to the point where things are getting almost to the point of this is getting too serious, or panic mode almost? Is it to that point yet, or no?
Well, I don't know. I guess it depends on that individual field. If soil erosion is so bad, they got gullies out there. They gotta drive around, and the water's running off. They can't get a decent crop to grow. Yeah, maybe they're at that point. But we can manage around problems to a point. But I think that soil health and some of those things we talked about with leaving cover and living roots in the ground, it should be part of the management scheme, along with the tillage and everything else we do. That should be part of their management.
I know we always talk about, you just mentioned it now, cover crops. When did that kind of start the discussion in the last 38 some years, that cover crop, having that was an important feature?
Well, talking to a lot of the old farmers, they'd say, this is nothing different. We used to use cover crops, in our systems, but as we progressed to more mechanization, new herbicides and fertilizer that came on the market, we're able to get by and grow a crop without a lot of the old methods, with cover crops and so on. But the benefits that they gave us are still there, and we're starting to move away from some of the intensive management, the herbicides and fertilizer and so on. Maybe there is a way we can reduce some of those inputs by planting cover crops. But I guess when I first started back in 1980 with the district, we didn't see a lot of cover crops. Of course, we saw a lot more diversity in the rotations with dairy farms and livestock operations. There was a lot of alfalfa and small grain around, and not really a lot of need for cover crops. But now with progression towards more corn and soybean rotations and more annual crops, the need is back again. And so we're starting to see them. We just finished a tillage survey with the University of Minnesota last week, and I was kind of happy to see a lot of small grain growing out there. I know a lot of it was planted as cover crops.
And how the cover crops, if you plant the right blend, how it can benefit the other crop down the line, or the future crops down the line on that soil. Oh
yeah, when you do the multi-species cover crops, you're giving the biology of the buffet.
Yeah.
A lot of different forms of carbon and being put into the soil, and gives it a diversity of biology, and that in turn helps nutrient cycling. So you have more nutrients available to the crops. It improves structure and aggregate stability. You get more infiltration, and you get less runoff. Soil erosion is a runoff problem. It's not an erosion problem; it's a runoff problem. So if you can get the water into the ground, and you're going to have less soil erosion and more potential for crop production when we see the typical drought that we always have in July and August. You have that water in the ground. So, I'm encouraged to see the changes, lately with more cover crops and soil health. But we got a ways to go yet. So Chris is going to be busy.
Well,
Stearns County.
Well, you say it like that, Brad. You then there's more stuff to do. You're just leaving us. There's too much to do yet.
Yeah, there's a lot to do. I know, but we need to get the young minds there with modern technology. People actually know how to run a computer.
Yeah.
That would help, and that's a big part of our job. And not afraid of it like I am. But
so, Brad, you have some old school techniques, in other words.
well, yeah, I guess so. And like Dennis was saying, we've got Tessa is going to be kind of taking over a lot of my job. So I've been trying to teach her some of the old things that they're still good. Building relationships with farmers, with our clients. That's number one.
Right.
And so that'll never go out of style.
Brad, I want you to brag about yourself for a moment. What some highlights of your career that you're really proud happened and you accomplished?
Well, yeah, soil and water conservation is a challenging, difficult career in a lot of ways. There's a lot of different things you need to learn. We're dealing with private landowners, so every situation is a little bit different. And it takes a lot of training and experience to be able to go onto a farm and with a short, amount of time you have to, determine a problem and get an idea what the objectives of the farmer, what they want to accomplish out there, and analyze the resources and develop alternatives. And then like Dennis was talking about the team, that's when the team kicks in. When you've got alternatives that the farmer wants to try out there, and then now you've got engineering technicians that get out there and do the survey and staking, and you've got people like Chris helping us with funding through some of the federal cost share programs, and other agencies like the Sauk River Watershed District, the Board of Water and Soil Conservation, Saltwater Resources with state cost share, trying to bring the money together to help pay for these things. And it's a team effort. And
Brad, you're very modest, but you got to let the listeners know that you've been nominated for some really great recognition in the past for all of the hard work you've done in Stearns County. And it started off a decade ago with the Minnesota Association of Professional Soil Scientists nominating you for the Soil Scientist of the Year here in Minnesota. And most recently, being recognized by the National Association of Conservation Districts, this is United States-wide, as the premier conservation planner in the United States, recognized at, where was that, Brad, where you were recognized this past February?
Well, that was the National Association of Conservation Districts convention in San Antonio. I was able to... Back, when was it, February, I think?
Yeah, February. So he was recognized down there for all of the work that he's done in his career. And when we put the write-up together for Brad, I'm like, oh, my gosh, if this guy doesn't get it, I want to meet the person that does, because Brad has just done a tremendous job of protecting and helping private landowners in Stearns County protect our natural resources and improve our soil and protect our water quality, and just had a fantastic career here in Stearns County. And we do have a little gathering for Brad coming up here Thursday, June 27th. It'll be in the afternoon, starting at about 2 p.m. If anybody out there has worked with Brad and would like to wish him well on his retirement career, stop by the office and say hello. We're going to just, it's going to be very informal, just a nice little gathering, a good opportunity to wish Brad good luck in his retirement. I know he's got a cabin up north he's hoping to spend a little more time at, and maybe not split wood every time he's up there, and maybe spend a little more time catching fish. Brad, any final comments?
Well, I've got a lot of thank yous in order. First of all, I'd like to thank Chasm Radio. They've been a tremendous, they call themselves the good neighbor, and boy, that's absolutely right. They sure have been helping us through the years, and especially me. I come out here and do a radio tape, and I mess up on it, and they erase it for me and start over. So that was always helpful. And
that only happened once or twice.
Yeah, I don't even remember those times.
A few years ago, I was setting up a tour, a bus tour in Stearns County, looking at no-till systems, and man, we just weren't getting the people. We were getting within a week or so of the tour, and the bus wasn't full yet, and So I called Chasm Radio. What can we do about this? And said, well, let's do some radio spots. So I recorded some short radio spots, and they put it on the air, and it definitely helped. So that kind of thing is what we really appreciate, and I'd like to thank Chasm Radio and the producers in the county for inviting us on their land and look over their property and help us have faith in the district and NRCS to come up with some solutions to solve their problems. And we're working with several generations. I'm working with third generation now, people that I started with 38 years ago, and now working with the kids and the grandkids, and which is nice to see, because we want to see sustainability, like Chris was saying. And I think soil and water conservation does help these farmers stay in business. It helps sustain their crop production and their resources. So that's what I'm proud of.
Congratulations on your retirement, Brad.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And
it's been a pleasure.
And you're going to do some cabin stuff.
Yeah, we've got a cabin up north. Anybody that owns lakeshore property in a cabin knows it's a full-time job, especially if you're doing it on weekends. So that's going to be we're going to be doing work there. But they got kids on both sides of the continent. A son out in Oregon and a daughter in Florida, and so we're going to be doing a little bit more visiting with them. And I've got another son here in St. Augusta and a daughter that lives with us. So. I've got a lot of things planned, but it's going to be tough to leave. It really will. I'm going to miss working with farmers and our team, and but got to let the new people in with the new ideas.
Very good. Thanks for all that you've done, Brad.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Breakfast on the farm, Dennis?
Breakfast on the farm is this week Saturday, and that's coming up mighty quick. And you can park over at the Ricori High School, and there'll be a charter bus running for free back and forth to the Mill Creek Dairy near Cold Spring, even closer to Marty, Pearl Lake Lodge. So I'll be out there along with Matt Bruette, Supervisor Matt Bruette with the Stearns SWCD, along with a whole bunch of other people. Right now, the forecast is looking pretty nice.
Very nice. And
we got a little rain shower coming through Friday evening late. And that should blow out, and it should be 70s and sunny, and just a mild wind from the north, and we're going to have a great time out there. So come on out and say hi to us and meet the new supervisor, Matt Bruette. We're going to be working on the backside of the barn because I'm full of it. They're going to put me close to the animal waste management system, and we'll be talking about how farmers control their nutrients and manage and recycle those by growing crops and feeding them back to the cows and then sending that back out in the field again.
Very good. Dennis Fuchs, Administrator with the Soil and Water Conservation District, new district conservationist from the NRCS, Chris Hogge in studio. And thanks, Chris. Nice meeting you. And please come back for more guest appearances if you could when you're not busy. All right, very good. And Brad Wenz, again, congratulations on your retirement, and thanks for joining us as well. It is 10:01. We've got some news coming up. Chasm Radio.